Hey everybody, welcome to the Webinar Jam. I am newly broadcasting on this line since we had to do a new series. So if you would type in that you are on and you can hear me, that would be great because they've updated their system and it's all brand new to me too. So hello, this is Danielle, and I'm going to get started. I'm going to push the Facebook to go live and then we will dive right in. So please, as you join, tell me who's on with me. Hello, this is Danielle. Welcome everybody who is joining me to Product Talk Tuesday, where I love to talk about different subjects on the brain, of course, and different products and things that you can do within your own homes or in your practices to really improve different moods and things like that. Like today, we're going to talk about moods. So everybody on Webinar Jam, I've got Webinar Jam and live Facebook. You can join on either one. I've got a chat stream on both. So as you join, please tell me who you are and where you're joining me from. So I see that you guys can hear me well and see me on Webinar Jam. So yay, I'm glad about that. So I'm going to dive right in. I, as you guys know, had a couple weeks where I did not do Product Talk Tuesdays. I do these every single week. And I was traveling. I was actually in New Mexico and then New York and then Salt Lake. And it's funny because everywhere I travel, it's like I got the weather. I had snow the first day, rain and snow in New Mexico. And then I went to New York and had snow and, not snow, actually rain and wind and really cold. And then I went to Salt Lake and got rain and snow even there too. So kind of fun. So I got to see snow for the first time this year. I am from San Diego, California, so we don't get any snow here. So that was really fun to see snow in April and, be in it for a couple days and then nice to come back to 70-degree weather. So anyway, thanks for everybody joining. I can see, oh, Tammy, you're from New Mexico. That's great. What part are you from? I was in Taos. So I've only been to Mexico twice, and both times I went to Taos and Albuquerque too. So welcome, and I'll get started. So as you guys know, if you're new to joining me, I would love to see who is brand new on with me. And I am a Doctor of Clinical Psychology student, and I'm an LCSW, so I've done my master's and licensure hours. I worked for many years in clinical therapy and loved it. I worked with teenagers. That was really my specialty, but I've also worked with adults and children in an inner city area at a local high school that was a high-risk high school, and a clinic also in the area. So my studies and my desire to start doing something natural, because as a therapist, we always like to integrate modalities that help our clients so that they can process emotions and cope and just talk more effectively in talk therapy, right? So when I discovered, the power of Doterra essential oils, it was like a whole new world. My therapy practice just bloomed with being able to diffuse in a little diffuser like this for my clients, different essential oils, different plant compounds that interact with the brain and help them just process emotions, uplift mood. And now for me, of course, I use these all the time. So that's one thing I really focus on. I've got a couple resources I'm going to give you, and you can remind me to give them to you at the end again too. But I have a, what's this called, a handout that I published. A lot of it's done on the research that I've done through my doctorate on studying how essential oils interact with the brain. So this is called Essential Oils in the Brain, and it's available in the US right now. I see, Dana, you're from Canada. So the Canadian one is coming very, very soon. But this is for children, and on here I go through different moods and different things, different emotions that you can use oils that help them. How many of you guys have ordered this yet or have tried this? I really like the new one. I'm excited about it. So today we'll be talking about the positive mood section. Last time, or a few weeks ago, I guess, we talked about the cooperative behavior section. So you can go on aromatools.com and just type in essential oils in the brain and this will come up. And you get a whole packet of them. It's really great for handing out to people and helping them go home learning how to use essential oils. I also have a training path program that's called, I call it the Psycho-Aromatherapy training, and you can start this. It goes from the basics to the brain to business. And it's only $14. If you want to get started with essential oils with me, then you can get an essential oil kit that comes with the training. So the training, you get it with the kit. Or you can just do the $14 just flat out training, and you get all the segments that I do in here, plus lots of webinars and podcasts and things that I've done where I talk about essential oils for the brain in depth. So this is my specialty and what I love to offer and do these product talks on Tuesday for you guys. So yay, let's get a little bit into it now. So talked about that. Yes. Oh yeah, that's right. I have my notes here. So I would love for someone on Facebook and on Webinar Jam to do like a commentator. So if you can comment below, sometimes I'll talk about oils and brain structures or different things and ideas you can do. If you can type in on here on the Webinar Jam and on Facebook some of the words that I say, I would really appreciate that. It helps everybody else. Also, if you share this right now before I get started, if you're on Facebook, you can share it or you can tag people's names so they can listen and join us for this Tuesday. So the training is, I've got a couple of people asking me about the training I talked about. It is online, yes, and it's all at your own pace. It's a 4-week training program, so you get 1 week at a time released to you, but you can do it at your own pace, and you have 3 months to access that material unless you buy the lifetime. To additional trainings. So those are my, Tammy, those are my additional trainings for people that are already using oils, just $14. So you can access all of it, and there's a ton of downloads. So yeah, so anyway, let's get started. Today I'm going to talk about mood, and what I'd love to hear from you guys is what are some of the things that you notice? Hold on. Decline. Okay, had a phone call come in over the Facebook live stream. What are some of the things that you notice when you either are dealing with someone who has a mood, or maybe they're depressed, or maybe within yourself when you're having those moods? What are some of the emotions that you notice? What I want to talk about here is what's interesting is that for children, adults, and then also adolescents, right? So children, adolescents, and adults, plus between males and females, some of the symptoms are different. And it's not always just this straight, like cookie cutter, diagnosis in a sense that you're feeling sad or down. So in children, they really manifest it. So we have with children, they don't know how to communicate their emotions. This is why, especially toddlers, right? They're so wanting to be independent, but they get frustrated and they'll just scream and they'll tantrum because they don't know how to communicate the emotions that are, boiling in the mind. So with children up till about teenage years, communicating those emotions is really a key when you're in your therapy practice or with your children. One thing that I use with children, and I use this actually with adolescents, is this little emotions ball, and you can use an emotions chart. And what I would do is I throw it to them, and wherever their thumb lands, like this one landed on worried, and I have them describe does it feel like to feel worried, and you just help train them in using different emotions. And so we would play this game, they'd catch it, and then this one says silly, or there's disappointed, or jealous, or stressed, or hurt, or optimistic, lovable, joyful, helping them be able to communicate and express those emotions and identify a time when they felt them, so that again they become more expressive. Because if they're not feeling expressive and they're feeling down and have mood concerns, right? They're going to be feeling maybe angry, maybe they'll tantrum, they're irritable, they may feel like they may act lonely, they're sensitive, especially in situations they may feel rejection, they'll get real sensitive. And so again, these are all symptoms of mood. And so understanding how to help them communicate those is really important. You may also see in children low energy. For teens, your typical symptoms of just feeling down or low in mood, right, and depressed is moody. That's a big one. I know a lot of people have this misconception when they have teenagers and they are moody and they think they have bipolar disorder. I just want to let you guys know it's not true. You need to obviously take them to someone to get a diagnosis for that, but bipolar is actually way different than moody. Moody is really a symptom of depression, just so you guys know. And when I say depression, I don't mean that they have to have a clinical diagnosis. I just mean there's a lot of stress, right? There's a lot of changes. They're going through a lot of your developmental stages. And so it's not that they have some clinical disorder. It's that they're processing and trying to understand and cope and manage these emotions, which is why essential oils are amazing for this. And doing emotion games like this one that I talked about. Now, I did this with teenagers. You may think teenagers are going to think this is dorky, but I'm telling you, they have fun with this. I did this with all ages, and I use this a ton in my therapy sessions, and they love it. So, and I don't even know where I got this. I probably got it on Amazon or something. So just that's an emotion soccer ball is what you can call it. So thank you for being commenters on here. I see my commentators, Jim, thank you for writing those things down. And someone on Facebook, I didn't see if you were, but if you're able to write down what I'm talking about, that will help with people. Because as we know, when we learn, we're visual. We've got visual with me talking. You've got auditory with me talking. But if you see it written, it also helps you learn. And your brain will encode those things. And I love how learning things and keeping them in my mind. I want a photographic memory. Okay, so teens, you may also see with teens troubled behavior. So if they're feeling, again, having trouble with mood, it might be troubled behavior. They're isolated and also defiant. So these are symptoms outside of the normal depressed or sad looking emotions, because that's pretty standard. You're Eeyore, just depressed, feeling upset and just lonely and negative. That's real, symptoms of it as well. But I'm talking above and beyond that, recognizing it in children, teens, and then adults. So let's go on to adults, right? Adults, we can communicate our feelings a lot more. So that's really good. So that sometimes, obviously we can say, I'm feeling down, or I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling depressed. So that's really good. Now for adults, it manifests very much similar ways as well, but moody. Again, moody is not bipolar. You need to go to a doctor to see if it's bipolar, but it's generally depressed. They also can express their negative emotions, and they just feel like low, like lethargic, almost low in energy, just low motivation, just kind of low desire. That's really with adults. You'll see that very sluggish type emotions and feelings. So just hope that helps with understanding the difference of how children, teens, and adults express it. Low mood is actually found more prevalent in women. And just like we've talked about, like hyperactivity is found more prevalent in boys, and then low mood is found more prevalent in women. So we have so many array of things in life and stress that go on and happen in our lives. So it's very important to understand how to express those emotions and then what essential oils we can use for those. So it's not that just because you're having, or just because a child may be going through stress, or maybe families going through divorce and things like that, it doesn't mean they have a clinical diagnosis. It means there are some things that you can do to help them process those emotions, express those emotions, and obviously the essential oils that can help with uplifting and increasing energy in the brain. And that's really what you want at this point. Now let me do a disclaimer here. Essential oils do not treat, cure, or heal medical diagnosis. They are not meant for a diagnosis or a medication in lieu of that. But it's very much helpful at increasing energy in the brain and in the mind. And that is what, especially with mood, right? And that's what's going to help you with cognitions and having more positive cognitions. So on that same note, I'm going to go into, our mindset also plays a big role in our mood, right? So if we're brewing a negative mindset, it's absolutely going to decrease the energy in the brain, and you're just going to feel worthless. So there are lots of things you can do. And one of those I would suggest is listening to total corny but positive affirmation, either books. I love Joel Osteen called The Power of I Am. Anytime I'm feeling just blah and just like really not thrilled with myself, or just feeling like, down on myself, I will put that on and it will lift me up. Within 10 minutes of just having those cognitions going on in my mind, it'll lift me up. So children need these things. They need these cognitions. Be careful of the TV shows, the lyrics that they're listening to, because they absolutely fire different things in the brain that will cause someone to feel down or depressed or brew on things that just are not healthy. So with that being said, so we've talked about children, teens, and adults symptoms of, feeling symptoms of mood. And then we've talked about cognitions and things you can do for listening to affirmations, expressing emotions, help with expressing emotions. And typically, I'm just going to talk about this, then I'll go into essential oil. Typically with mood, or just feeling down and low, those types of things, there's 3 neurotransmitters that are affected in the brain. They find that it just are not functioning at optimum levels. And that is your monoamine neurotransmitters, which are norepinephrine, serotonin, and dopamine. So those three play a big role, which is why, if it's a real clinical problem, doctors will look at medications like SSRIs or SNRIs, so that's norepinephrine and serotonin ones as well. So this is a great thing to understand, that as you increase cognitions and also as you're looking at diet and things too, that this can help your brain increase those neurotransmitters. One thing we know that we have learned from, actually discovered in the 1980s, that over 95% of your serotonin, this is like the major neurotransmitter for mood disorders, right? Over 95% of your serotonin is found where? In your gut, right? In the intestines. So diet, which I'm not going to go into heavily here, I go more into it in my psychoaromatherapy training program that you can access. But diet is crucial. And again, it's pretty much the basics. The healthiest and the most, raw, basic food that you can get. Salads, of course, fruits and vegetables, organic legumes and things like that are going to be the best for gut health for that. And then lastly, let's talk about essential oils that can help boost mood. And that's really important, especially if it's just teenagers that are going through different times, different stages, different stressors. How many of you guys remember what it's like to be a teenager? Oh my gosh, it was so, the biggest stress was what? Walking into a classroom and nobody would talk to you, right? I remember that being such a stress. Or maybe it was like you liked a boy and he would hardly look at you. I mean, hello, that was like the biggest stress ever. I remember I had a crush on my high school, ended up being my high school boyfriend, but for about a couple months I had a crush on him, and it would literally crush me if he didn't say hi to me one day. This is before he knew I liked him, because I didn't tell anybody. I was so embarrassed about it. It's like star football player. I didn't dare tell anybody. And so I liked him, and he'd walk by in the hall and I'd be like, and I'd say hi all nervous, and he would say hi, and it was like, oh, it'd make my day. Of course, all these neurotransmitters go floating around. But then other days that I wouldn't see him, it was just like, oh, it was like a bummer day, right? So this is what teenagers are going through, and helping them express those emotions, gain self-esteem outside of, hot football players at school. But those are those things that they're really going through. So let's talk about essential oils that can help with just the coping with normal changes in life, and for children, adults, and for teens. So a couple studies that have been done, I'm going to just talk about two studies and then I'll give you a whole bunch of other essential oils. But one of them was done on citrus oils. Now we know what is the major component of citrus oils. Limonene. Limonene is a content they have studied even in, medical field. They've studied limonene, which is the content of citrus oil. So let me grab my citrus. Meliss here is one of my favorites. It has all the citruses in it. And they showed that it actually helped. It says essential oils support uplift mood. I want to say this compliantly, so I'm reading my notes here, that it may improve monoamine activity in the brain. So monoamines are, again, serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. So those are three of your monoamines anyway. So our citrus oils are going to be a really good one. So in my sessions with kids, I mostly diffuse citrus oils because it's good for tons of other things, but they love it. It just smells like, you're opening an orange. It's just divine. So I do a few drops of this in my diffuser, or you can put a few drops. I like to put it on my wrist like this, and then I can breathe it in and smell it. And the neck's also a good area, so that it takes blood to the brain. So citrus oils are going to be some of your best for helping to improve monoamine activity. Again, just increasing that energy, telling the body, hey, kick it up a notch. We're feeling a little sluggish and down. Let's put some citrus on. So that's one. Another one that's been studied very highly, and it was rosemary. Rosemary essential oil. Oh, I didn't grab my rosemary. It's in the kitchen. That's where I keep it. So rosemary essential oil, they found also interacted with the monoamines in the brain. So what I would suggest if I'm just dealing with some things, or I just need a little bit of a boost. Again, this is not for treatment of medication. It's just totally different, just natural life emotions where you need a mood boost. Do a couple drops of a citrus essential oil, like 2 drops of a citrus and 2 drops of rosemary in a veggie capsule. And just do that once a day, maybe twice a day if you're really needing some boost. I would do that. I would switch up the citrus. I would do lemon one day, maybe do orange the next day. You could do grapefruit. So I would do something like that, but just continue to do 1 or 2 drops of rosemary. That's for an adult. For a child, or for actually a child wouldn't probably do it internally. For a teenager, you do 1 drop of each. For a child, you can put it on the bottom of the big toe, citrus and rosemary. You could do citrus bliss in that case on the bottom of the big toe before school. And the reason why I say bottom of big toe is because rosemary is a little stinky. You don't want kids going to school like that. Kind of embarrassing for them. So a couple other oils that have been studied that you guys can play with is, well, actually, I'm going to look at this thing and just show you. So on the back of here, it talks about chamomile, clary sage, frankincense, of course, is really good for uplifting mood, geranium, ginger, jasmine, lavender, patchouli, and petitgreen. Also rose and spikenard. Another important one is your omegas. Make sure your children and adults, everybody, even teenagers, are getting omegas. I take about 4. These are little tiny ones. So I take about, where it is, 4 of these a day. And again, they have 9 different essential oils in them, like the frankincense is in here, thyme is in here, clove, and a whole bunch of others. So cumin. So this is going to be really good for uplifting mood, is omegas. They've been studied to uplift mood. Lastly, I'm just going to give you my blend that I like. So if someone would type this in, and thank you for my commentators on here. Really appreciate that. It helps me know where I've been talking to. So you can do a roller bottle in a small one or a big one. Just do equal parts in a roller bottle with fractionated coconut oil. It's always a good idea to use that. It helps spread it further. But you can do equal drops of, let's see, bergamot. I'm looking at my list here. Frankincense, orange, melissa, and clary sage. So those 5 in a roller bottle. If you don't have melissa, it's not a problem. You can just not put it in, or do, what was the other one I was thinking there? I just said clary sage, right? So, or you could do geranium in there. That was what I was thinking. So melissa is an amazing oil. It's very expensive. It comes from these flower petals. So that would be what I would suggest. I'll say it again just because I said it really quick there. Bergamot, frankincense, orange, melissa, and clary sage. Equal drops with fractionated coconut oil. And then just roll it onto pulse points. This one smells good. So if kids are okay with it, they can go to school with it during the day. Or if you guys, as diffusing, you could even diffuse this blend in your offices and things like that. So that would be my mood uplift blend. And then lastly, my favorite that's just already made that doTERRA sells in their emotional aromatherapy is called Cheer. Love this smell. This is what I have on today. In fact, I started to do this, get ready to do this product talk, and I had black, because I always wear black and gray, I don't know, and blue. I like those colors. I had black on, and I was like, I'm talking about uplifting mood, not going to a funeral. So I changed into something bright, and I grabbed the Cheer and put that on pulse points on the neck, again, where it takes blood to the brain. So anyway, please tell me, what is one knowledge, one nugget that you took away, one light of knowledge that you will want to implement that really you didn't know, or maybe something you learned brand new that you can share with others. Please type in the chat box. Would love to see what really, enlightened you today. Renee, tea tree. Yeah, and I can take questions now. No, tea tree, which Melaleuca is not, I've never seen research on it being for uplifting mood. It doesn't mean that it wouldn't help, but it's not on the list. It's really not coinciding with that. So Deb, the roller bottle blend, that was something you really liked. The bergamot, frankincense, Melissa, thank you for typing that in. Yes, Lara Jean, this is recorded. And Hope says her light, a little nugget was moody is a symptom of depression, not bipolar. Yes, that's a big common misunderstanding, huh? Citrus and rosemary internally. Good, yay. Rosemary and citrus bliss on big toe for little kids. Yeah, good. Love that. Just reiterating those points. So I will be on with you guys next week. So join me next week for your Product Talk Tuesday. This is recorded, so you can go back and listen to it. It's on Facebook or on the webinar jam is on. You'll get an email link to it, but it's also on YouTube. So Susan said that 95% of serotonin comes from your gut. So it's been over 20, but I can stay on for a couple minutes if I have any Q&A. But if not, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you next Tuesday. So let's see. Lara Jean says Melaleuca will help with mood for people who take on, or people's energy. Yeah, for energy clearing. I can see that. Absolutely. So and I really appreciate you saying that, because what I put on here and what I study is purely just stuff from my doctorate that's been done in labs. It doesn't mean that it's the end of all. It's just I do go by a scientific basis for what's been studied. That's probably just not something that's been studied yet, or I haven't seen any research on it yet. But I agree, Melaleuca is really good at clearing for energy. So Aroma Tools. Okay, yeah, you find the sheet on Aroma Tools. Oh, hi, Sherry. Yes, the Uplifting Mood Blend. Hi, Pippa. Good to see you guys on here. So I can type in the blend. I'm sorry, where you can buy the Aroma Tools. What do you call it? Tear pad handout. So anyway, everybody have a great rest of your day. It was so great to be on with you, and we will see you next week, Tuesday. Bye.